Okay, Rukon's video on Saturday, the 17th of May, 2025, just gone 8:10 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So it's the weekend, time for another weekend futures market recap, where I go through 15 largest futures markets and I show you what I'm seeing on my charts. We're going to talk about the E-mini first, and then we'll get to the other futures markets. But last weekend, we had a possible fake break we talked about on the E-mini, and that's what we got. We got a gap up on the Sunday with all the good news that came out in the macro scene, and we've been nudging all the way up to 6,000. It's surprising me, this strength that we're getting on the upside. Feels a little bit like deja vu, because the last 3 weeks I've been talking about we're going to get a turn, we're going to head back down. We need to go to the lower time frame charts to show why that is, but where are the levels that we're going to run out of puff? We've crossed past the resistance on the lowest time frame here, this little pullback level, and so normally what happens, the next level up is important. It's a place where we talk about being caught by the next highest time frame, and that's what we're looking for. These intermediate lines to come back up to plus 100 cross, and that'll be cyclically when it's time to roll over. They've been parallel for a while, but they're starting to get a little bit closer together. Don't be surprised if they come together quickly. So sometimes these lines, don't project them out and expect, well, if it's been 2 weeks moving in this direction and we've made this progress, then it's another 3 weeks away before we get this turn. Not necessarily so. These can come together quite quickly and get that turn and come back down. So that's what I'm looking for on this daily chart. Again, we're in an uptrend because the blue professional bars are at the lows, not at the highs. We had rainbow patterns and amateur bars up here, and that's why we fell out with this correction move. But in my mind, the uptrend is not over, because we've had blue professional bars coming at the lows. If we had blue professional bars at the highs, they would have been taking profits. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for on the daily chart. Let's go down through the time frames, because we're starting to see some little cracks here. So let's look at the rainbow patterns here. So this is better pro-am. A rainbow pattern is when we have an amateur bar at a new high. And Rambo stands for potential reversal of an amateur breakout, R-A-M-B-O, and it's potential reversal. The lows of those amateur sequence become really important when they get broken. So the lows of that, 59.41 on the 135-minute chart there. But we've got no blue professional bars yet. We're coming into the zone where we had professionals selling it down last time. They pick it up here. So these zones of interest become potential turning points where the professionals come back in, push the market back down again. Cyclically, yeah, we keep on busting up through these resistances. Well, we've had a little pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame here on the 135-minute chart, and the intermediate time frame on the daily chart becomes the highest time frame on the 135-minute chart there. So these are the lines that are coming back up to come together. So let's look for that this week. 45-minute chart, again, no blue professional bars up here. We don't have rainbow patterns on this time frame. I think we do on the 15 minutes. We go to those, but the stop is miles away. Yes, we've had an exhaustion pattern, which is good for blowing off, but we don't have blue professional bars up here at the highs, which is interesting. And the reason why I'm saying we need an exhaustion sell patterns is we never got one down here at the lows. On this move down, all of these moves in terms of momentum were fairly weak on the way down. Yep, caused a lot of price destruction, but we didn't have an exhaustion sell. That's exhaustion sell getting the move going. We didn't end it. So I think we've just got to have something like that that mirrors that move on the way down, and that's why I've been saying all along, even through this strength, it's like we're going to come back down again at some point and test into these lows. So that's the theory. Yep, still cruising through resistances. We keep on breaking up and up and up on the 45-minute chart. Now the 15, here we go. We got some rainbow patterns up here. We got some squeezes going on as well. We'll turn off, better squeeze. Last week, this is the reason why I said I think we were going to have a fake break to the upside, because what we'd had is exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, and flush patterns down here. Another exhaustion sell, another bullish divergence come in at those lows. I really like these signals for continuation signals when we get exhaustion sells above the trailing stop here and here. And that's why we got that fake break, because we hadn't put in exhaustion buys on these highs. Yep, we had rainbow patterns, we got some weakness from there, but we'd never blown off in terms of an exhaustion buy pattern. But we did get that this week. So the situation is reversed. We've got exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, flushing out the last of the buyers, and then finally little rainbow patterns right here at the highs, whole family of them. So the sequence there, the low of that is 59.53. So that as a level is interesting. We had quite a lot of weakness into the close. You'll see that on the tip bar chart. But there we've got the situation reversed. This has held us with all these exhaustion patterns, flush patterns, bullish divergence patterns here. That's why we got that little push to the upside. But now the reverse has happened here and we've trailed the stop up. The last blue professional bar was back down here. Let's see if we get on the 15-minute chart on Monday's activity. And in terms of cyclical patterns, still the bars are in red. We're in an uptrend here. It's been super strong all week. So that's the 15-minute chart. Now, 13,500 tip bar chart. This is where you can see the weakness that we had after hours here into the highs. Dropped off, 40 points, which is interesting. Here we've got blue professional bars come in. We've trailed our stop all the way up. We've actually just broken through that with those after hours activity, but we don't have confirmation patterns here with these white arrows, white vertical lines. Yes, we've made new highs with blue professional bars up here. We've got blue professional bars at the highs, but we've not had a confirmation. We'd need a confirmation a little bit like this on the way down. So that's 13,500. And here similarly, there's the exhaustion buy, the bearish divergence, the flush patterns. Here it's been strong all week, but now we've run out of puff on that 13,500 and we're overcooked on the upside. We've overshot the resistance on the highest time frame. We've got to go put in a pullback to end of trend on the 13,500. So some weakness followed by some support coming on the highest time frame here on 13,500 and then a push back up, and then we'd probably see more blue professional bars on the 13,500 tip bar chart. These were super high average trade size up here at these highs, and we haven't seen that yet on the 13,500. So yep, we got the fake break that we talked about in last weekend's video, but now the reverse has happened. We've got our exhaustion patterns come in. We've still got a little bit of time to run on this daily chart in terms of that cyclical cross, but yeah, we're getting closer to it and then we'll push back down. Not sure there's going to be a particular catalyst that sets that off. Maybe it's just be general weakness in the market and people get scared, take profits and so on. But yeah, deja vu for me, and 3 weeks in a row where we're looking for that turn and it hasn't popped up yet. So tick bar charts for the futures market. So it's the highest time frame here, and we're just looking at this, the usual setup that we have on our tick bar charts. A little bit squashed up here, but on a big screen it looks great. We've got two time frames, the low and then the intermediate time frame. On the euro we look at the 500 tip bar chart and 1500 tip bar chart, and then we look at things in terms of volume and price. Better sine waves set up here on these lower charts, but what we're looking at is better pro-am and better momentum on these charts. Beginnings and ends of the week are marked by solid yellow vertical lines here. So we got 2.5 weeks of activity in the euro, and we had a signal short at the beginning of the week, ended up with exhaustion sell, bullish divergence and flush right down here at the lows, but no blue professional bars. We bounced off that into exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, and we've weakened from there. But now the blue professional bars have started to come in here. So let's see if that area holds. We get back up above 112.5, something like that on the euro. But there's no super high average trade size there at that point. So a little bit in limbo, and only a few blue professional bars come in there. No more exhaustion sell patterns. So technically it's still in a downtrend. We've got the background in grey, so it might continue to weaken until we get more confirmation on the way down. British pound, similar thing. Sold off last week after I think the interest rate announcement. And down here at the lows, we haven't had a similar weak pattern down here at the lows. Here at this high was great. We had everything come together. Exhaustion buy, we had blue professional bars making highs. We had the background in blues showing super high average trade size. And then we continued down. Blue professional bars step in here at the lows, and we've rallied from there. But no exhaustion sell at that point. No super high average trade size. No background in blue. So not a lot of confirmation there. And we've got blue professional bars come in here. The background's in grey, so still in the downtrend on British pound. So same thing with the euro. Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, we had some weakness last week that similarly got caught this week. So all of those turns happened on all those Forex markets at the same time. We had some strength, but ran out of steam. We had background in blue professional bars making highs. We had weakness from there. We had a signal short, we had a signal long, and at the moment we've just bounced off Rambo patterns down here. Blue professional bars here at the highs. We weakened from there. So I think the Aussie dollar and the background's in grey. So Aussie dollar still weak. Japanese yen. So the Japanese yen this last week, we had blue professional bars at the end of the week that tried to hold at that point there. We had a lot of good things come together there. The background's in blue, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, blue professional bars at new lows. We got a signal, but it just gave way and we weakened down again. And we didn't have blue professional bars picking it up at the lows. We had them picking up on the retrace. Now we've got some squeezes happening at the moment on Japanese yen, but I don't know, it's not as if we've made a proper bottom there with exhaustion sell at the bottom and so on. Yeah, there's blue professional bars, super high average trade size come in here. It is as an uptrend on Japanese yen. So I don't know, let's see. Are we going to get a little bit of a carry trade unwind with some weakness in the equity market and then strengthening in the yen? Have to wait and see. Now, 10 years. Had some nice signals here 2 weeks ago. The high was made. All the patterns come together. Exhaustion buy, bearish divergence flush, super high average trade size with the background in blue. We have the blue squares. That means professionals taking profit at the highs. And then we get a nice signal short. And that's lasted 2 weeks on the way down. And then we get the reverse. Exhaustion sell down here. Happened here. Bullish divergence flush. Lots of blue professional bars coming in here. Not super high average trade size, but we've had a little bit of strength from there. And let's see if this area catches. We continue up to break through recent highs on the 10 years. So we're in an uptrend on bonds at the moment. And gold had a lot of profit taking over the last couple of weeks, but now seemingly this week we've held these lows. So exhaustion sell, blue professional bars at the lows. We take off. We've got super high average trade size. Maybe they're getting this move going. We've ran out of steam temporarily with the Rambo pattern. We've come back down. So let's get back up through the 32, 33 level here to break that properly into an uptrend on gold. We're certainly trying to hold down here at, what would that be, 3100 I suppose. Silver, we talked about silver being junky over the last couple of weeks, and the same thing is going on with this week's activity, up and down and up and down. No real breakout patterns yet. This is good for this 32 area to be held with blue professional bars, and then when we punch through, that's a false break with all those Rambo patterns. So amateurs leading the way and they get wrong-footed and the professionals step in, but until we break into an uptrend with a background in red, that's still consolidating there, waiting for a directional push. Bitcoin now. Bitcoin's had a stellar run from 80 all the way up to 104, what was these high levels up here? What is that? 106. And it's starting to weaken a little bit, but not super high average trade size. The highs here, got some blue professional bars at the highs, bearish divergence, Rambo patterns, amateur up bars at the moment, so that's weak. So if we drop through this 102, 600 level, that might take some heat out of this market. But Bitcoin's been outperforming, so even though we might have a risk-off move starting this week, who knows if the damage to Bitcoin is going to be all that severe. But let's wait and see. Still in an uptrend. We didn't have blue professional bars taking profits at the absolute highs here, so in my mind still in an uptrend, and it's just a question of picking the entry points for a continuation of that rally. Ethereum, we don't normally talk about Ethereum, but it's been a really strong move over the last several weeks in Ethereum. So it took off through 1600, 1700 here. At the absolute highs, just under 2800, no blue professional bars. Yes, this activity was super important, keeping the move going here, so the 2000 level is going to be absolute key. So let's see on timing wise where we're coming down to here. So yeah, we've overshot resistance on the highest time frame, so we'll need to come back down and see where that support on the highest time frame comes in next. Now crude, we had a gap down 2 weeks ago to 55, which was super important, and then we got going. It's in an uptrend because we haven't taken profit at the highs here, no blue professional bars at the highs. The exhaustion buy was getting that move going. We've got exhaustion buy patterns here, blue professional bars right at the end of the week. So I don't know, let's see if this continues breaking up through 62.20, continuation of that uptrend on crude, but not a particularly nice pattern there. Natural gas, now this is a lot better, much more constructive on the downside. You can see this real damage that's been done. All the blue professional bars coming at the lows. Super high average trade size, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, flush, another exhaustion sell, another bullish divergence. Has not broken into an uptrend yet. We don't have a background in red, we don't have a signal long, but The professionals are getting interested here, and the amateurs have been wrong-footed right here at 330. So let's look for that as a setup this week, getting above 340, 345, 350 on natural gas. That'll be super interesting if that took off. Copper went nowhere this week. A lot of amateur bars. Yep, the professionals bought down here at 450, but it hasn't taken off above 470, and we've just got amateur bars backwards and forwards there. Corn's trying to hold, but not broken into an uptrend. No blue professional bars at the lows here, although exhaustion sold, bullish divergence, Rambo to Rambo channel. So it's not signaled long yet on corn. So let's see if we get some more professional activity on corn this week. Soybeans topped out up here. So the professionals came in on the low here and we're testing there. They weren't active at the absolute highs here at 1080. Getting into that blew off with exhaustion buys and bearish divergence, and that's why it rolled off. But not a lot of blue professional bars lately taking profits, so not sure about that. And wheat got a signal long wheat. We've got backgrounds in red, so we're in an uptrend. Blue professional bars came in at the lows. No super high average trade size on the lows there, but we are in an uptrend, just having a little bit of weakness with amateur down bars here. So let's look this week for this move to continue up through 532, break to new highs there on wheat, see if that continues up. So there we go. Yep, still waiting for that turn on the E-mini. We're getting closer to it. I say closer because of that cyclical turn here. And let's see if that was profit taking by professionals at the end of Friday. But remember, we still have this cyclical pattern to make on the highest time frame of pullback to end of trend. So we could go for some initial weakness early on Monday, Tuesday this week, and then come back up, test back up, and then the proper move will head down. So I'll be looking for that on the 13,500 tip bar chart. Pull back to end of trend move to top us out, and then we'll get the weakness. So let's see. As I keep on saying, it's deja vu. The last 3 weeks I've been saying the same thing, but we're getting closer to that turn, and the idea is that we've not seen exhaustion sell on the downside, and we need to see that in order to bottom this market properly. So all this becomes is a little bit of a bull trap. So there we go, just some thoughts, and hope your trading goes well this week.